Welcome to the 319. This is a house with a lot of history, a lot of character, and a lot of personality. It's a house that my friends and I have been renting out as we study engineering at the University of Waterloo. Last summer, on a nice sunny day, to fuel our shared enthusiasm for climbing and save a bit of money on memberships, we built a climbing wall. And of course, being a group of engineers, there's no way we're going to build some standard climbing wall. No. Ours is unique. And to build a climbing wall of this caliber, you need the Avengers of engineering students. And so last year, that's what I assembled. The team was Glenn, Spencer, Lucas, Narosh, and yours truly. We divided into two teams and quickly got to work. The first team was Glenn and Lucas. They were tasked with creating a grid of holes on the plywood that we could then pound T-nuts into and attach our climbing walls. The second team consisted of Spencer and I, who were tasked with building the frame for the wall. To do this, we built it like you would any normal wall, 2x4 studs spaced 16 inches on center. The work from the two teams were combined, and we had our walls. All we had to do next was make sure that they stood up. So we created two A-frames to go on either side because we all know triangles are the strongest shape. Next, it was time to put it all together. And if this isn't looking like the most student-run construction site you've ever seen, I don't know what is. But here's what makes the climbing wall so unique. You can change its angle. When we attached the two wall components together, we installed the top portion on top of some heavy-duty door hinges so that it can pivot along its base and be secured at any angle along the beefy part of the A-frame. We did this by first temporarily securing it in place with some screws, then drilling a hole and placing a bolt through it at the desired angle that we wanted, thus setting a new angle. From here, we could have drilled a couple more holes and made some new angles, but we were impatient. We wanted to try out our new wall, and so we did. We grabbed a bunch of holds that we got from our friend over at the Boiler Room Climbing Gym, Malik. Thank you again for these holds. We slapped on a couple roots, built a quick ladder, and then got climbing. As you can see, we were so impatient we didn't even put on climbing shoes. The wall was a success and served us for many more climbing sessions both day and night. But there was one thing. We began to yearn for a wall that was on less steep of an angle so that we could set some more technical routes. So, one haircut later, the team and I made a modification to the wall that allowed it to be moved up to less steep of an angle. We moved the wall, and the rest is history. And that brings us to today. We're 1 year older and 1 year wiser. This year I took a course called Law and Ethics, and I learned that as an engineer, if I see a way to improve the safety of a structure that's reasonable, say it doesn't cost $5 billion and use half the world's steel, then it's my duty to implement that. I've realized that this structure has a single fail point, the bolts. If the bolts were to fail due to shear, then the climbing wall, at least the top portion of it, as well as anybody on it, could tilt forward, and that's not that good. Now, do I expect these bolts to fail? No, but that doesn't matter. We need a backup. Conveniently, behind the wall is a tree, or a cluster of trees. I'm not really sure. I need to read up on my trees. Regardless of what it is, it's definitely strong enough to hold up the climbing wall if needed. So I installed a cable that wraps around the tree and attaches to the top portion of the climbing wall. So if it were to ever fail, that cable would be our secondary safety stopper thingy. It's safer now. One other detail that I should mention while I'm here. We left a gap at the bottom of the top portion of the wall so that any water that hits that backside and runs down has a place to drain out. It would then drain out onto the top of the bottom portion of the wall, and so we sloped that so that that will drain water off to the ground. Also, pressure-treated lumber was used for any pieces that were in contact with the ground. Well, I feel a whole lot safer now with this climbing wall. Lucas and I just set some routes for each other. So, Lucas, shall we? He's actually inside. That was just what was in the script. I'll go get him now.